questions related to that. Now, see, one of the greatest challenge, especially when it comes to, see, as a knowledge management professional, our job is to kind of, work on this day in, day out, and, try to moderate and facilitate and, perseverance in terms of, making work. That is one. But these gentlemen who are the experts in the organization, who are the, who kind of drive the next technology, whether it could be renewables, it could be your top G experts. One of the difficult tasks is the time management and the bandwidth issues, right? How do you kind of engage them to still work on this and, contribute and, spend some time on this? Because this is one of the fundamental problems which I see, especially when it comes to, leadership. Yeah. How do you take care of these challenges?
Yes. So also one of the frequent feedbacks that we receive when we ask the leaders, the experts to work in the KM, they tell us what will be the charge code. For every project we have a charge code. We put it in the finance system, as a load management system, to justify the time that we spent. So this is their feedback. What will be the charge code for my for this activity?
Okay. So do you give some codes to them?
No, never create a charge code for a KM activity or a learning activity. And my answer is, do you have a charge code when you open your Outlook? You click on a new email, compose email, you write the body, and you click send. Do you have a charge code for that? And they said, no. I said, yeah, this is a shift in the attitude. Instead of, sending emails, picking up the phone calls, go to the community, engage in learning activities. And I tell them also, this is also part of your growth and development. So whenever you are sharing and stating your experience, and also one of the arguments that I made, they receive the same question over and over, especially the experts. They receive the same problem or similar questions from different regions. From all around the world, because we are dealing with the same product, and naturally we'll get the same type of problems. And I told them, instead of answering the same question over and over, make visible for one time the answer, documented in the community, and then we have a wiki system. So to retain our critical knowledge, once they are developed inside a community, we transfer them to a wiki system for knowledge retention. So I said, all what you need, whenever you develop those solutions, transfer them to the wiki, share the link to the wiki. You don't need to type over and over the same email.
Solutions,
and you are saving time. So now you are asking me, what is the charge code? And now I ask you back how much time you have saved. By writing just one time the solution and sharing multiple times.
Yes. So this is where I have one more kind of example here. I mean, earlier, way back, I think people before manufacturing bricks, they used to use, hand to do the, maybe not even bricks, probably they invented a mold just to fit the whole thing, and and they created multiple mold, and the whole machinery came. I think this the moment you have something in mind, and it's just like the moment you put out as an explicit document, it becomes a mold. I mean, you can keep on sharing, right? I mean, I think I think that is a kind of that's how I think people should start looking at knowledge management, how to manage one's own knowledge and share it. I think that is one of the I think essence what we are getting out of your important learning, what you are sharing in the community. I mean, this is absolutely fantastic. These are very simple, solutions and answers, but these are the points where most of the game goes to one level and it just fizzles out, because it cannot surpass such barriers within at the roles of the leadership or the roles of the experts I think there are barriers within us. I think that's why we have to break those things. I think it's these solutions. How you develop your conversation. How do you kind of help them realize? I think it's really beautifully put out, Rachad.
Yeah, perfect. The perfect question, and I'll detail more on it. Wikipedia. This is maybe the largest knowledge base in the world, Wikipedia. And the ratio for the Wikipedia actors is 99:1. So 90% are consumers, learners, readers. 9% are contributors, so they update the content, and 1% only are initiators, creators. They create the wiki articles in Wikipedia. So we reflected on those ratio, and we said we are all humans, and definitely we'll have the same ratio at GE. So let us took the initiative as KM team and be the initiators, the creators, to create the first content and put it in place. As you mentioned, they need something visual, they need a mold to see it, and they will be intrigued by one sentence, and then they will hit the edit button and they will update the content. So as a team, we have a service called Wiki as a Service. So whenever there is a discussion in a community thread, and once this discussion is concluded with a solution, we transform that threaded discussion into wiki article. We maintain all the key elements like contributors, what was the problem, what was the conditions, the context, the proposed solution, the feedback. We structure it in a wiki article, and then we push it back to the community, and we tell them, this is your first baby, let's say. And engineers are intellectual. Whenever they see something valuable, they will engage in it. And then we lowered the entry points, the barrier to entry, by creating the first iterations, the first version of the wiki article. So the rest of the members can go, can add, can enrich, and this is very successful strategy. We have like 1,600 wiki articles that were created based on community discussions.
It's fabulous story. I mean, what one big takeaway for me out of this is, as I mentioned, the mold. I think you have created a perfect mold to put the whole context in one and piece it out and put it out there for the engineers to look at it as a piece of knowledge nuggets. I mean, that's absolutely wonderful. Yep. Now, do you kind of have some measurement scale, like what impact these nuggets are creating to the audience now? I mean, again, management would still ask you, right? Okay, yes. End of the day, okay. So what is the value out of this whole operations and initiative? I mean, how do you answer that, and what mechanisms you have? I mean, if it is fine, I mean, you could tell a bit about that.
Yeah, yes, okay. Sure. Let me maybe share with you a slide. I don't think it is confidential, but I have a message to share with that slide. Yeah, so we have different types of indicators and KPIs, but KPIs and indicators are really the consequence of your work and the consequence of the value that you are offering. So if you are offering something valuable, your KPIs will be good.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. So let me skip this slide, the KPIs. You can define whatever KPIs the numbers of clicks, the number of reused solution, and we focus on this particular KPI, how many times the solution was reused and applied in a similar project. This is our key indicator. But what I'd like to mention is something really more related to the engagement. Maybe this slide, yeah, this is a slide. So the more engagement you have, the more outcome you will have. We started like in early 2016. You can see four members, only 4 engineers. are engaged in the knowledge management system in the communities.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
and you
Okay.
see by the end of 2020, around 8,000 on monthly basis engaged.
That's
And this
significant.
is
Yeah.
the key message today. Building or changing the culture or changing the behaviors and the attitude doesn't happen overnight, doesn't happen in an email, doesn't happen in a PowerPoint slide. It is effortless. It is the unlimited energy that you need to invest in it on daily basis and on individual basis. You don't make change when addressing the mass or when you are addressing 200 persons. You make the change when you listen individually to every single problem, pain point, and you try to address it, to solve it through knowledge management and by showing the value of knowledge management. And then you will get the influence and the butterfly effect saying, yes, maybe this can help me. Maybe this is useful. Maybe this is valuable. And the snowball will grow. You can see in 2017, in 2018 growing, in 2019, 2020. This is through
It's having that,
continuous
yeah, ripple
education.
effect, which is, yeah.
Yes, awareness session. Like on daily basis, I do 2-3 awareness sessions. All what I do, my job is to do awareness, education, and then try to show the benefit of KM on how we can solve our engineering problems and issues.
Excellent. I mean, one of the beauty of this graph is generally, I say, when you start, when your strategy is right, when you really understood the pain points and you kind of designed your knowledge management solution around the actual roles people play, then it takes typically 18 to 20 months to see the result. I think your graph really indicates that. I mean, it really indicates that, yeah, it really takes 18 to 20 months to really see that kind of, I would say knowledge management is just like in farming where you kind of sow the seed and water it every day, clean the, keep watering it, manure it, and over a period of time, it depends on what seed you sow. I mean, if you're putting a sapling of coconut, you have to wait for 20 years or 10 years, right? If you're putting a paddy field, maybe 3 months. So it depends on what kind of fruit you're sow, I mean, seed or sapling you're putting it. I mean, typically, my experience has been that typically you see around 15 to 18, 20 months, you see something happen. There's a shift in people's attitude, or they start seeing the value what people are creating around it. I think it's beautifully represented here. I really appreciate for sharing this very, very important and key learnings from what you have been doing. I mean, it's really amazing. Communities is not an easy the program to manage an organization. It is not. I mean,
No.
So,
Yeah, and I'd like to compliment the one, let's say, learnings that I have learned as being KM leader is to have a consistent expectation, or let's say a consistent level of performance, my performance. So let's say if an engineer has communicated an issue and you replied within, let's say, 30 minutes, you have to keep that level of performance. And you have yes, to keep that persistently, because somehow there will be some kind of image that you are representing now the KM system. And if they trust you, sometimes there is informal relationship between the KM system and your image. So you have to be available, you have to be persistent, competent, kind, and always delivering at the same level. So once they trust you, first they need to trust you as KM leader, and then they will go to the solutions that you are providing. Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing insight. I truly believe that is true, because at the end of the day, knowledge management becomes a support function. And as a support function, it is our privilege and also a responsibility to be there for the key functions for driving the whole business and operations. There's always debate, or support function is overhead, or sales and marketing are the real breadwinner. that's a different point. But I think the whole philosophy is being there for these people. I think really uplifts their performance as well. I mean, that's what I want to kind of summarize.
We are lucky to have a very knowledgeable chief technology officer for renewable energy. She's sponsoring our program, and she insisted to host or to sponsor the knowledge management within the engineering function. So it's not an IT function, the KM, it's not HR function. It is really at the heart of our engineering DNA. And we are really lucky and appreciative for her support and sponsorship.
So I think I should also mention to our listeners that this is also one of the key element that where the knowledge management get positioned, that creates the context in the organization, how you see and how you design based on the landscape of the organization from where you operate. It's beautiful. That's really thanks. Now, probably, if it is fine, I have one more question, Rachad.
Yes, please.
I mean, I see that you are happy to answer me, so I will take that as a privilege.
My pleasure. And we are passionate about this domain.
Yeah. I really, I'm enjoying this conversation because it's really amazing sharing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the question is now, okay, you talked about the the kind of performance and how the whole knowledge sharing collaboration communities are performing well. I mean, there's a beautiful data point to look at it. Now, just to take two steps further. I mean,
Yes.
What is a dollar value? That is that is. I mean, it's a perennial question from the management. The sustenance of knowledge management is always answering only that question, right? So has there been any effort on that, or I mean, so you can share your views, please.
Yes, sure. We are operating like 80% of international companies. Their performance evaluation is the profit and the financial indicators. At some point, yes, we understand that knowledge management is an investment. It's not a product or it's not a service to quantify it. But at some time, you need to have those numbers. Those numbers, I have them in slide number 16 for 2019 and slide number 17 for 2020, but I cannot show them.
That's okay.
They are
not a problem. You can just, if it is okay, you can share. Otherwise, no problem. We will leave it.
Yes, but I can share, let's say, the key message on how to measure. Knowledge itself, you cannot measure it. What you can measure is its impact, its absence, its, let's say, benefit. So we measure how much times the solutions were reused in a specific context, in a specific project, or in a related or similar projects. And then we estimate those reuse in terms of engineering hours. And every company has its own rate, engineering hour rates per dollar. So we do some kind of formula and we have an estimate of how much dollars we have saved by reducing the number of engineering hours since reusing those solutions.
I think that would do. I will not probe further. I will stop there. I understand the sensitivity around that, confidentiality of the data. I'll stop there. I think. I mean, it's been really kind of really kind of you to talk about so many things related to all the work what you have been doing in GE, and it's amazing for me also. There's so much of learning what you have shared for me, and of course for the listeners as well. I think our for today we have kind of crossed our time also. So is there anything you want to specifically share, something which I have not asked, you want to speak to the listeners, or I mean you're free to
yeah. So maybe my closing message, and this is my personal belief, it's not about the technology, it's not about the tools, it's not about the process, it's not about the database, the IT, all that stuff where you can have a world-class knowledge management. It's all about the people, their generosity. I believe generous people In fact, or let's say sharing my knowledge is a sign of my generosity. And generous people find themselves in communities. They come together and they find themselves. We need to focus on those generous people sharing and willing happily to help their colleagues. We want to empower them and we want them to influence their colleagues. Only by influence, only by, let's say, focusing on those generous people, we can build a world-class and a successful knowledge management system in any company.
Excellent. That's truly, yeah, true. It's the reality, I guess, with the knowledge management.
Yes.
It's dependent on so many things, yet it's independent in its own way of how knowledge nature works. I think, Rachad, this has been an amazing conversation I had. Very fulfilling conversation. Got to learn a lot of things from you. At the same time, I'm happy that you also touched upon how you have been able to incorporate standards in your present operations. And my only advice is now, probably, I do not know whether you have done some audits, internal audits. You should do a couple of internal audits and you could declare your organization as 30401 compliant. I mean, whether you apply for certification or is not mandatory, but it is always it's good to see the organization which are already kind of implemented the standards and it's quite visible. I think that's the only message I have to you.
Sure.
And I also really sincerely thank you for your time and all the learnings what you have shared to us. It is going to enrich a lot many viewers and listeners to ours. Yeah, thank you very much.
I appreciate this conversation. I know we are limited in time, but it will be always a pleasure to share our insights on those topics. The certification, of course, it will be something of interest for us. I'm always open to share with anyone our stories. We learn from each other's. And I believe in the power of a group, in the power of the community to come together, to share their experiences and to advance in the society, specifically in our field, knowledge management. So again, thank you, Santhosh. It's a great pleasure. And stay safe, everyone. Stay healthy and stay well.
Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Santhosh.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.